I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the cowboy man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey. I'm Wayne, your host, as always, joined by my good friend and partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing fabulous.
You always are. Once I just want to hear you say, "Damn it, Wayne, life sucks." Oh, nah, I don't want to hear you say that.
I can't say that. My life does not suck. God has been good to me.
I know He has. Them grandbabies you got running
around. 4 grandsons, and one of them is 2 today. And then our youngest grandson, yes, and then our youngest grandson turns 1 next month. So she has a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my God! 1, 2, 3, 4. 2,
3, 4. Not kidding.
Oh. Bless her heart. Mr. Tiffany says, look who she's married to. Of course, she's fabulous. Yeah, I mean, you got lucky. You won the lottery when you married Mr. Tiffany.
Oh, my God. It's a good thing he's at the station. He's got those great big bay doors, for the medic units to get his big old head out of them.
Don't lie. All right. Excited about the show tonight. Got a couple guys backstage. Actually, there's a few of them back there. Got Todd and Doug, and Todd has one of his buddies there with him, Carrie, that might say hello and share some of what's been going on out there. And I can't wait to get them on. Bring everyone's attention to the poll question. Already got some activity there. The poll question is, are tracks in the snow the best way to collect DNA? I've heard people say that collecting eDNA is quite possible from tracks in the snow. So,
I would say my line
most everybody's disagreeing with it though, because at this point, 86% say no. But what were you saying, Tiffany?
My line of thinking is I could see where they would say that because the snow is frozen, it's like ice to preserve it. But I would kind of fear degradation too, though. Just because.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of think that they got the good way to collect DNA myself. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. All right, let's pay these bills real quick before we move on. Guys, if you have not done so, it's your first time here tonight, please hit that subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate it. Show's heading in the right direction. Keep adding new subscribers daily, but we are nowhere near done. So tell your family, tell your friends to come on over and check us out, but hit subscribe before they leave, please.
And if you would like to be a guest with Wayne and I, you can reach out to him, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com, or myself, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com. And we are filling up, so you guys get in.
Guys, head over to paranormalworldproductions.com, our website. Check out all of the other shows that you can find under the studio's umbrella. This one, Paranormal Odyssey, Sasquatch Odyssey, That Bigfoot Podcast, True Crime Odyssey, Basement Hangout, Kentucky X-Files. There's like 7 of them, I think. And the brand new one, Backwoods Horror Stories, which is just encounters. If that's what you guys are into, head over there and check that out, because that's all you're going to get on that channel is Brian reading you stories. I mean, what else can you ask for? That sexy voice of his.
Like butter. I made myself laugh.
Nobody laughs at your jokes like you.
I'm so funny. If you guys have questions, if you would please put them in all capital letters and we will snatch them up. Some of them we will put in our highlighted area. Some we may pull through the show. But either way, please put them in all capital letters so we can see them.
Very good. Very good. One more thing before we get going. I want to remind everybody about our membership program. If you are not a member, why the hell not? It's $1.99, people. $1.99 ain't hurting nobody. 199 pennies to get extra access. And we can't tell you how much fun our members only shows are. We did one last night and had a ball doing it. It's a tight knit little group over there. We know everybody by name. We've had some of our members come on with us to do the shows live, and we usually just share a bunch of creepy videos and talk about them and just hang out and have a really, really good time. So we'll be bringing you other stuff as well, but that's what we've been doing lately. But the first 50 people that sign up will be entered into a drawing, and one person from that drawing will win a Yeti lunchbox, an autographed copy of one of Naoma Finn's books, and your very own Paranormal Odyssey t-shirt. I mean, that's worth it right there, to be honest.
Exactly. For $1.99, you're getting that for nothing.
Exactly. You're getting a Yeti lunchbox for $2, guys. Come on, that's an $80 to $100, depending on where you get it, lunchbox. All it's costing you is $2. Sign up.
That's a steal. You can't find good stuff like that at a yard sale.
You can't. You can't.
Nope.
All right, we're gonna end it right there on Tiffany's yard sale.
It's Saturday.
Speaking of members, what we're going to do real quick is every 30 days we're allowed to gift 5 people a free membership, and they get a membership for a month. Just try it out, see how they like it, and then at the end of that month they have an option to start paying for it and to keep it going. We did it for a month, and those people just ended, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And I don't know if it'll show who did it. We can do 10. Oh, no. I can do 5 right now, but I think we can do 5 later. I'm going to give 5 right now.
Yep.
There you go.
It does show.
Who we got? Catherine Jones, Griff, CRF 1000, Vol Slim Jimmy. He just had one. Anyway, those people, y'all get a membership for the month for free. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you like it. I hope that you will use it. All right, that's enough of all of that.
It's fun.
I didn't think it was going to take us 10 minutes to get through this. I want to go ahead and get to our guests. Like I was saying, these guys, I've got several pictures to share with y'all tonight. It's what these guys have been doing out there in their area is awesome. They got something that just happened recently, like last week, that they haven't shared with anyone. They're going to be sharing it here for the first time, and the people that they had with them was pretty impressive. So we're just going to go ahead. If you're ready, ma'am, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready.
All right, we are going to bring out Todd and Doug. They are Bigfoot Wilderness Research. You can find their channel on YouTube as well. But let's welcome Todd and Doug. How's it going, fellas?
Good. How's it going? Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming.
And thank you for allowing us to be on this podcast tonight. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And Todd, you've got Carrie there with you, right? Carrie, thank you for hanging out. Carrie is there because you three were the ones that found the trackway, right?
Yes.
Before we get to it, and we're just going to go left to right. Doug's on my left, so I'll get him to go first. Doug, talk about your beginnings in Bigfoot, how you got your interest and your start. And then after you're done, Todd, the same question to you, buddy.
Okay. I grew up in El Paso, Texas. My parents were from Oregon, and I remember the PG film. And I remember in El Paso, there was also what was called the Horizon City Monster, which I guess I found out from Ken, I forgot it was Gerlach. I think that he's actually investigated that. I found out recently. So that got my interest. And then as I got older, I was involved in sports and all that. And I ended up in Northern California going to Humboldt State University, really close to where the P&G film took place, the Patterson-Gimlin film. And for the longest time, I didn't pay much attention to it, though my family and I would always have weird experiences because I'm an avid backpacker and I do things like that. And then in 2009, my oldest son with his wife, my other son, and a friend, he had a sighting at a lake in the remote Trinity Alps. And so from that point on, I started getting reinterested in it. And so past several years, we've had some interesting experiences. I ended up meeting Todd when he moved up here from Lancaster, and he had a mutual interest. So that's why we started really getting more serious about this.
Yeah, I think you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know why I just muted me. Doug, I didn't want to interrupt you. You were talking there, but you've developed a little bit of an echo. It seemed like it might have something to do with your microphone.
You want to take it off?
Can you see if that fixes the problem?
Okay.
It wasn't, guys. I'm sorry for the interruption. It wasn't doing this before.
Is it worse now?
Way bad now.
Maybe I should go into the other room. You think that?
It looks like it says you're muted.
Wow.
This is why we have them come on early so we can get through these issues. But they sounded perfect before.
Everything was working fine.
That's our luck. While Doug, you might have to go out and then come back in. If leave the studio and then come back in if you don't mind. And while you're doing that, we'll get Todd to go ahead and talk about his beginnings. Okay.
Just try going into the other room. Well, for me, when I was a kid, I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film on the In Search Of, and all the shows in the 70s, and I got interested that way. And I read books on it through school, but not until the internet came out. When the internet came out and I was older, I started really researching it. Armchair researcher, and once I moved up here to Humboldt about 7 years ago, I knew the history of Humboldt County and Bigfoot with the P&G film. So once I moved up here, I met Doug, and we started talking about Bigfoot. We started going camping and backpacking, and he's like, yeah, we can, he knew some areas to go to. So we started to research them. But I did have a sighting probably back in Kentucky when I lived there in the 70s when I was about 10 years old. We can go into that later, but that was probably my first experience with Bigfoot when I was back in 75.
Okay. Would Kerry like to introduce himself real quick?
Hi. Well, I'm from Southern California, and I've always had an interest in Bigfoot, especially with the P&G film, and wondering if that was real or not. And then Todd, who is my brother-in-law, got us to move up here, and he got me into the Bigfoot research, and we started going camping and doing some research, and I've had a lot of experiences, and I just keep going because I wanted to have that opportunity to actually have a sighting. So I keep going, and he keeps me interested in it. So I can
Awesome.
I can thank my brother-in-law for getting me into Bigfoot research.
Thank that brother-in-law.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Kerry, I appreciate you sharing that. Looks like we've got Doug. He has changed rooms. Let's get him back. Doug, say something, buddy.
Does it sound better now?
So much better. You were perfect, dude.
Okay.
So much better.
I appreciate you doing that.
Do I need to reintroduce myself, or is it to come out?
No,
okay.
That's fine. We'll just keep it there, and we'll just start now. We'll start talking about this trackway that you guys found, and whichever one of you want to talk about that from the very beginning and tell us what all you found. I'll be showing some pictures while you're doing it. Well, Todd, you want to go ahead and take off?
Yeah, we on April 30th, 2023, we left kind of early, about 7 o'clock. We got up to the Go Road about 9:15 or so. Started driving up. We got to we went through about 3 areas where there was snow on the road. We went through all areas. There was no other tire tracks or no footprints, nothing. It was fresh snow, so no one had been up there to that area. So we got to mile 10, and we got to a point where there was about 2 feet of snow on the ground. We knew we couldn't get through this area, so we figured we'd stop. We got out, started walking. Kerry had noticed, at first we thought the prints were maybe just a trackway of human prints, but then Kerry, he noticed that, he said, hey, there's toes here in these prints. And then we started looking at it more closely, and we realized, yeah, these aren't human prints. These are larger, wider. The gait between them are, starting out at 4 foot plus, going up. And we started to, videotape it. We started taking pictures, and we realized, yeah, these are legit.
Yeah, how can you not say that those are toes? Look at how defined those toes are. Right.
That's what especially the big toe in a lot of the prints. It's so defined, and like this one you're showing, you see all 5 of the toes, and those prints we were jumping on the snow in our boots. We were going down maybe an inch. So some of these prints are down 4 to 6 inches. So this animal was, 500, 600, 700 pounds. I mean, a lot more than what we weighed. But they're
awesome.
They were just amazing. We were just amazed at coming across this. I mean, it's not like we come across trackways every year. I mean, this was hopefully it's not a once in a lifetime thing, but it's the first for us. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, so Todd was there, Doug was there, and Kerry was there, correct? Yes. Doug, tell us about your impressions of coming across this trackway.
Well, I was really impressed because of the fact that, see, we go up what is called the Go Road, and if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's a short phrase for the Gasky Orleans Road, which is a road that originally had intended to go from uh, Orleans to a town north of Crescent City known as Gasky. And this is where they were having all that Bigfoot activity back in the 50s when barrels were being thrown around and so forth. So this road never got completed. There's about a 5 mile between the north part of it and the south part of it that never got completed. So it's very remote out there. I mean, there's times where we see one or two people on Highway 96 even getting there, and no one the whole day while we're there. So it's kind of nice to have a paved road and then have logging roads off of it so that we can really get in the depth of the wilderness. So just a little background on that. And I noticed one of your chatters said what was the elevation? It's around 3,000 feet where we were.
Okay,
But
now you
getting back
guys
to,
were relatively close to the Patterson-Gimlin filming, right?
yeah, it's, if you drive up to mile 17 and then take a turn onto a road there, it's about less than 10 miles from there. So as a crow flies, however, it's probably maybe 10 miles maximum from the Patterson-Gimlin film site.
Okay, Doug, I
Um,
didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying there. I'm
oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
not at all. But my impression of this was pretty impressive too, in the sense that we had never seen anything like this, because we see all kinds of prints all the time. In fact, this year we've seen cougar tracks, we've seen bear tracks, we've seen fox, turkey, elk, deer, but then we come across this trackway when we parked, and it's pure fresh snow, and we step out and we go, wow, look at that trackway. It went over 100 yards up the hill and 100 yards down. And Carrie jumped out and said, hey, look, guys, there's toes in this. And that's when we got just like, wow, what have we just found? And looking back, and we've shared it on other podcasts, we had tape measures. We were just so like, couldn't believe what we were seeing. We didn't pull them out. We just started walking around, and I did a 23-second video, which is Western Bigfoot Exploration did a documentary on it. So ones can look at that. And then on our website or our YouTube channel, we have that original footage on there, 23-second, as well as Todd does a 2-minute walking downhill, because he had mentioned they were 4 feet going uphill, but they were at least 8 feet going downhill, like it was running. And
Wow.
there's just no possible. I mean, I tried to step into, right next to the prints going uphill, and I did the biggest spread eagle. I mean, that would be as far as I could do, 2 prints. This was like 50 going uphill and over 40 coming downhill.
So for the most part, would you say the distance was about 4 feet between them?
Going uphill at least 4 feet, between 4
Yeah,
and 5.
that's what I was saying before we came on. I've always heard, I don't know how anybody really knows for sure, but I'd always heard that the distance between strides is you double that, and that's about how tall the creature is. So if 4 foot is the average, you might be looking at an 8-foot creature there.
Wow.
And going downhill, the distance being double to that, I mean, it does make sense that maybe they were running. Or you're going downhill, you're going to step further.
Yeah.
So how big were
Now,
you said you had measured them. How big were they?
We used my wallet as a measuring guide. It was about 13 inches long, 6 inches wide, and since then we've done some casting in the same area in the summertime, and we casted a couple prints, and they were the exact same size. So we figured the castings we did this last summer matched those snow prints. So they were 13 by 6.
Crazy.
that's crazy, man. And a couple of people that might be familiar to others have contacted y'all about this, right? Who would that be?
Well, we've had we did Bigfoot and Beyond podcast with Cliff Barrickman and Bobo. Brian contacted us. Bigfoot Society. Then there's another researcher, Jonathan Easley. He's an excellent researcher with Tate Hieronymus. They did an actual documentary on what we had seen, and they have a great. It's about a 15-minute video that they can look up on YouTube under Western Bigfoot Exploration, and they'll be able to see it. He put it together really nicely, and he interviewed us on just what we had found, and so it's
You
exciting
guys,
to think.
yeah, y'all went on our sister show, Sasquatch Odyssey, with Brian as well, right?
Yes, with Brian. Yeah, and that was he's a great host. You guys are both great hosts.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys were talking about that Bigfoot podcast before we came on, and I appreciate you guys listening and that support. I was kind of talking about Cliff Brackman and Matt Pruitt, but I think they were involved in something else that happened with you guys, right?
Yes, they were.
Do you want to talk about that now?
We'd be happy to. Do you want to start it off, Carrie?
Yeah. Last week we went to Squatch Fest in Longview, Washington. And we went a couple days early so we could do some exploring. And on Thursday, January 25th, we went to a undisclosed location at Mount Hood in Oregon and found this one road that we wanted to go squatching on. And so we were walking up this road, probably about a half mile or so, and we heard a knock. All three of us heard a knock, and we had a spacing where Doug was in front, I was in the middle, and Todd was in the back, walking up this road. And the first knock we heard, Todd and I both heard it, and it seemed kind of close. We both identified that, yeah, we had a knock. So then we kept walking up the road, probably about another 100 yards, and I heard a knock. And I think I was the only one that heard that. You guys didn't hear that second knock, did you?
No.
Yeah. And that was deeper in the forest. So then I walked up a little bit more, and Doug's in front of me, and I looked into the forest, and I saw this figure probably 50 yards deep in the forest standing next to a tree. It was tall, brown, and it had its side to me. And as soon as I looked at it, it looked at me, and it took off into the forest. I mean, it was like 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, even if I had my phone out to take a picture, I couldn't have because it was so fast. But I did see something. And then when I saw it, I said to Doug, I said, "Hey, did you see that?" And he kind of hesitated because he didn't know what to say. And he goes, "Yeah, I did." So then you can take it from there, Doug.
Yeah, and the reason why I hesitated is because I was just looking around, and then I saw this upright creature darting through the trees, gliding through the trees, and it happened so quickly, and it was deep, dense forest, and then an evergreen blocked my view, so I only got a quick view, and then my mind was just trying to process what I saw. But I did see its arm. I saw its body. It never looked at me, but it was a Sasquatch. So that's my first sighting I've ever had. And I was just like blown away. I was like, wow, to have something like that happen to you, it just kind of blows your mind. You're going like, wow, can I really process what I just saw? But I'm an outdoors guy. I backpack. I do the Pacific Crest Trail. That's been one of my goals. I've been doing sections of it. I've hiked to almost every lake in the Trinity Alps, Marble Mountains. So I've been a backpacker for 40 plus years. So I've seen 50 plus bear in my experiences. I've seen elk. I've seen deer. I did not misidentify this thing. I knew exactly once I saw it. I saw its hair. And then it's funny because Carrie goes, "What color was it?" And he goes, "Well, it was brown. It had some white on it." And I was like, okay, it looked kind of reddish to me. But then he found a picture on the internet, and we both looked at it, and I go, "Well, that's what I saw." And he goes, "Yeah, that's what I saw too." So it's just that we just had a different idea about the color. it was more reddish to me. But once he showed me just an artist depiction, and it's not really, I mean, it's similar to what we saw, but not identical. I was just like, wow, because that was the freakiest thing I've ever seen. It just like weaved in those trees so quickly, and it just was gone in like 2 seconds. And it was probably close to 8 feet tall. We didn't think it was that tall until Cliff Barrickman came out with us on Sunday to the site with Matt Pruitt, because they wanted to see if we could find any prints. And we found close to 10 prints on that Sunday. We had to head back to California. He found 10 to 12 more prints the next day. And just yesterday, he has found some more prints. And according to another well-known Bigfooter, Bobo, he said that he hasn't seen Cliff so excited. So we just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And we're not going to disclose to anyone where this is, because that is Cliff's research backyard. And that guy is an amazing tracker. That's what really impressed me. He taught me a bunch of things just being with him those couple hours. And he's the one that got us to start casting, because when we had our sighting, or not our sighting, but our trackway, he's like, well, did you cast them? We're like, no, we brought material with us, but it's one of those things. And so now we're making sure we have casting material. Of course, we didn't take it up this time, because this was like a fun trip going up to Squatch Fest. But usually we always have casting material, tape measures, because we realize that to be serious researchers, we need to have the materials with us to do this. Yeah. And it was pretty trippy to actually have a verification in my life that, wow, these things do exist. Trackway got me thinking, because I was a skeptic, kind of like Les Stroud. I want to see it to believe it. Well, I believe it now. I saw it. Yeah, so it's pretty impressive.
You're not a believer anymore. You're a knower.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had the one, what I believe to be a sighting. It was a thermal sighting, and I have an image of it that I feel is pretty compelling. I'm still waiting on that visual Class A daytime, which is what you guys got, and that's awesome. Todd, you didn't see it, is that correct?
No, I didn't. I was down farther. I heard the first knock, but I unfortunately didn't see the Squatch itself. But I was the one that booked a couple of days before, so I extended our stay so that we could go squatching before the Squatch Fest. So I should get some props for setting this up.
Wouldn't have happened if it wasn't. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, if it wasn't for me extending it a couple of days so we could actually do some squatching, and I mean, I was there, but I just didn't see it because I was too low. But I'm glad that they saw it, and I'm glad that we got the prints that Cliff found, because that just verifies that their sighting was a natural sighting. You got sighting and prints that collaborate, both of them. So that was, I mean, a good Class A sighting.
You're the true hero, Todd. You took one for the team. You did the thing, man. Good for you.
I keep saying that to myself, but I mean, I kind of had a sighting last year too, but not. I mean, I can't say it was, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. Now, Todd, you were talking about a sighting you had when you were younger in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
You want to share that real quick? Or, I mean, not real quick. Take your time.
My mom, we lived in Kentucky. We lived in Bellevue, Kentucky, which is right across the river from Cincinnati, so northern Kentucky. My mom was a big Girl Scout leader. She was like the county Girl Scout leader, and my sisters were in the Girl Scouting. So we went down a place called Hillsboro, which is probably it's down the foothills of the Appalachians, I guess, southeast of of the northern Kentucky area. Anyway, it was just in '75. We went to a Girl Scout camp, which was, I mean, we was way out there in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, when the Girl Scouts would come in, we would take hikes into the forest. And one time we took this hike, and we stopped at this one area to eat lunch, and one of the Girl Scouts had seen this. Well, they thought it was a man up on this ridge where these power poles. They weren't like huge power poles; they were smaller ones. But there was a clearing, and this dark figure was standing up there on this ridge. And my sister, who's married to Carrie, she was one of the Girl Scouts, and she remembered that. And we were all looking at it, and my mom was like, "Well, let's just keep going. Let's get out of here." I really didn't think of that time until I saw the Marble Mountain um, footage of that, where they saw that Sasquatch up on or that thing up on the ridge. That's basically what we saw, but it was just standing there watching us. So that was and then once I saw that, that popped back in my head. I thought, yeah, that may have been a Squatch sighting back in '75, way back in the hills of Kentucky. And my sister remembers it too.
This is, I think, the second time that in this interview that Marble Mountain has been brought up, and we all, or most of us in the community, are aware of the Marble Mountain footage. It seemed like I heard somewhere that it's recently been debunked, but
yeah,
I don't know. But that's always been one of my favorite pieces of evidence. I don't know how it got debunked. I don't know how it's possible to debunk it as far away as that thing was. It looked massive. It certainly had long limbs. New member Jessica Murray, thank you very much, ma'am. But yeah, the Marble Mountain. What do you guys think about that footage? Have y'all heard that it's been debunked, or what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I've heard that some were debunking it, but I heard also the BFRO did a investigative research. And that large branch it walks by, and it walks under it. At least from some sources, I've heard that they figure it was 9 feet tall, and there's a spot where it steps, and it's over 3 feet down. So I just think it's certain critics. You always have these critics, like when we were at Squatch Fest, if you can believe this. Because I got a little bit of question and answer about our prints, because I went up on stage on the question and answer night. And it's so funny because on Saturday, I have this old gentleman walk up to me. So he must have been listening. And he's here at this Squatch Fest, and he's a total skeptic. He goes, "Oh, I'm a relative of Ray Wallace." And he goes, "We put fake prints at Humboldt State University and so I was like, why is he talking to me? I was in the restroom, and it just shows that there's always going to be individuals that try to debunk this, but I don't know. There's
people out there that say that the Patty film has been debunked. That's bullshit.
Baloney. Yeah, that's baloney. In fact, the more AI is used, the more it proves it's authentic.
Yeah, until you go down to the site of the PNG, the PNG film, there's no way that was faked. That area is so remote. There's no way they could have gotten a suit down there. And plus, the suit was, the so-called suit they had at the time would never have matched what Patty, what you see on that film.
Yeah, and then the midget that I shouldn't say midget. I apologize. The short man that claimed to have worn the suit, Hieronymus, I think was his name.
Bob Hieronymus.
That's a joke. I made that joke, but he's a short man, right? 5 some. I don't remember. If anybody knows in the audience, help me out.
Watch it, sir. I'm only 5'4" and a little bit.
You are a lady. You are the perfect height for a lady. A man No.
Yeah,
But
I've been
anyway,
told he was around 6 feet tall, but they have now shown on the film that Patty was probably 7'3" minimum to 7'6". So
yeah,
I
Doug,
don't care
it's
if you're
shocking to me that you say he was 6 foot tall because I had heard like 5'7", 5'8", something like that.
it
Or I
could
might be
be.
thinking about somebody else.
And it's interesting because there's a really good Bigfooter in our community. His name's Tate Hieronymus, and we always have to
Mhm.
address it by saying no relation to Bob Hieronymus.
Yeah, I don't know Tate personally, but he's been on some of the lives that we've done. He's friends with Brian from Sasquatch Odyssey. He seems like a really good dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to my point, talking about the Marble Mountains, some people say it was debunked, and just like some people say the Patty film was debunked, and I just think that's really it's disappointing to me. I've said it so many times that I mean, there's people out there. There's probably a lot of really, really good footage out there of Bigfoot that people are sitting on because they're scared to release it because someone out there is going to say it's fake. You're always going to get it, and I don't understand that, guys. There's got to be all these different groups out there. We need to pick each other up and help each other instead of being jealous that someone else found it before we did. You know, we're never going to come together as one unless we make the effort. And I don't know, we're just fighting against each other, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the the researchers we need to share our evidence a lot more and not be, like I said, so critical on evidence that others find. I mean, the more
Yeah,
evidence we find, the better.
yeah, and we got to start sharing it. I mean, that's the only way we have to learn about these things right now is listening to the people that have seen them firsthand. And I've made the comment before, I could get just clear 4K footage of two Bigfoot mating in my backyard and release it and be clear as anything. And someone out there is going to say bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the world that we live in, and that sucks.
That's why a lot of people who have clear evidence of video or pictures, they won't come out and show it because they're afraid of the negativity about it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's disappointing. It really is. All right. So tell us about this group that you guys, y'all founded it, right? Bigfoot Wilderness Research.
Yeah, well we had to come up with, we figured we needed to come up with a name because we were getting this this evidence and these experiences, so we figured we start a YouTube channel. We come up with a name so we could give this evidence out. We do, it's like I said before, we do go out probably on the average of once a month. Wintertime is a little slower because of the snow, but summertime we're out more. Summer and spring we're out more often.
Now, do y'all camp or is it just going out and doing hikes?
We do day trips, and we also go camping for weekends or 3, 4, 5 days, whatever we get off work or the wife's allow us to go out. But yeah, we spend a lot. I mean, I really believe that we spend more time in the Siskiyous than anybody does because we're out there a lot, and I mean, we don't see we don't have evidence every time we go out, but it seems like when we go out on day trips, we have more experiences because we're in smaller groups. We go camping; it's usually a larger group. We have wives and kids and grandkids with us, so we're not totally focused on the Bigfoot thing, but we still do. But this last time we went out this last winter, we did find prints up by a certain mountain area that matches the snow prints, the size of the snow prints. That was I mean that kind of fortifies the evidence of the snow prints, finding prints in the mud.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be wary of these people that go out and have encounters on every trip. It's
Yeah,
just not possible.
yeah, it's not. I mean, there's probably. I mean, we probably have about 25% of the time that we go out, we have some kind of evidence, whether small or large. But I mean, nowhere near 100%. That's just not going to happen.
Exactly. I mean, most of the time when we go out, I just got back. Troy, that's in the group, he and I just got back from the Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. Or Todd, you might know about that, being from Kentucky.
Yeah,
We spent the weekend there, and we didn't see anything, but we heard some stuff. But I mean, I feel like not every time that I go out, but most of the time when I go out, because I go to areas that I know there's activity, so we hear stuff. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to hear things when you're going out, but to have these sightings every time that you go out, the people that take the pictures of the wood line or just start videoing in the woods and
Yeah,
then come back and release it, and you got the people, oh well, there's 7 of them in here.
yeah, the red circles
Mm.
and yeah, those are, yeah, it's, I mean, well, like I said, I may have had a small sighting. These, Carrie and Doug have had a sighting, but I mean, we've heard chatter. I mean, I've heard chatter, I've heard tree knocks, um, a lot, footprint, impact tremors from footprints of these animals. But but it's like I said, it's not every time.
Yeah. Let me ask your opinion on this, guys. And Doug, I'll start with you first. This is something that I've experienced several times. It's something that I've been talking a lot about lately when we interview folks. I don't know if y'all have experienced it or not, but there's been several times on camping expeditions that I've been out and something has woken me up in the middle of the night, either whether it be something outside the tent or a scream or something that was enough to wake me up, and I cannot make myself get up to check it. I mean, that's the whole reason I'm there, to gather evidence, but I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired that I cannot make myself get up to check it. Have you guys experienced that?
That can happen, absolutely. I know one time I was with a friend of mine that's a hunter, and we got hammered with one of those really low frequency noises. And he even experienced it, but he's like a complete skeptic. And I knew exactly what it was. It was like that low frequency that predators often use. And he goes, "Oh, maybe that was a buck." Because I said, "Did you feel that?" And I know that we had an experience at another location where I took Todd, where I had an experience in 2014, and my son experienced it also when he was at another lake, where he saw a Bigfoot and he just couldn't bring himself to do anything about it. He wanted to take a picture, but he was too afraid. And so it almost makes you paralyzed. And I know Todd was pretty paralyzed on another experience where me and my other friend were just dead asleep and we wouldn't wake up. And Todd heard a bipedal figure walking around the tent, and he was around his tent, and he was afraid to even move because of it. So that
Yeah.
that is definitely within the realm of what happens.
Yeah. I was on with Doug Hychek over on his show, him and his son Alex, and I talked to him about that, and he's experienced it. The same thing. I don't know what it is, man. It's just some weird thing that happens.
Well, I think when we're scared or we're frightened to the point where our body is we're paralyzed. We can't move because we're so scared. Even though we want to, we cannot move. Like I said, like I said, that happened to me before. And that was, I wanted to open up my tent to look out, but I just could not move. I was so scared.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. what do you say we get to some of these questions? Y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, questions and comments. First comment that we starred, love the podcast. It keeps me entertained while I'm driving for my job. Well, thank you very much. I don't know who that's from, Facebook user, but thank you. Troy asks a question: were any casts made? But I think y'all answered that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't have any casting materials. We took photos, videos, measurements. So we did as much as we could.
However, because we keep going back to that location because we know there's activity, we have done 2 casts. We found 2 prints. We found more prints than that, but there were 2 that we took. One on out in the middle of a meadow. We found a really nice cast or a print. We cast that, and then we on a hill towards the peak. We found a one going uphill, and we showed those to Cliff just this last weekend, and he said those are Sasquatch. I mean, he had no doubt in his mind because we've taken some other casts since then too, and one was a double bear print. One's so we're starting to cast now because we're not messing around anymore. Because it was kind of funny. I was joking with Cliff. I go, "Yeah, you kind of spanked us on the podcast," and so I'm getting serious about it. So now we're making sure we cast prints because, like he said, it's great to tell a good story, but the evidence is what counts. So it was really reassuring to us that we're on the right track because 2 of the casts that we have done, we presented it. They took pictures at his center up in Portland, Oregon. It's NABC. And he said those were definitely Sasquatch prints. So we think it might even be the same one that left the snow prints.
Very cool. Very cool. Troy also asked, I think a lot of these he asked before y'all actually answered it. You got around to answering it because he asked what's the track span, like heel to toe. And you said majority of them were about 4 feet, and going downhill was closer to 8 feet, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we will move on. Length and width, you've also covered that. About 13 inches long, 6 inches wide.
Yes.
Correct.
Now, also on the snow prints, we had contacted Bobo, and he was in Portland at the time, and he wanted to come down to look at him. But we told him that it had rained that the next day or the next night, so they probably wouldn't be good. But he sent a friend from Happy Camp, which isn't too far from the area, down to look at the prints, and he went and looked at them, and he said that he saw the prints. He said those were probably the best prints he had ever seen in his life, and him and Bobo had been squatching for like 30 years. But
That's impressive, man. I don't care who you are. I mean, you got somebody like Bobo and Cliff and certainly Matt Pruitt that have been doing this for as long as they have. And Cliff, for one, I mean, you pretty much consider him an expert in tracks, in my opinion. And to get the praise that you're getting from these people, y'all are doing a really good job. You really are. Okay, moving on. Troy, our buddy Troy, asks, was any eDNA collected in the snow prints?
No. It's kind of interesting because we just heard Dr. Meldrum speak about this. It's really in the early stages because, when it comes to DNA, they're finding that it's just so difficult to gather evidence. But with this new technology, eDNA, they feel like eventually they're going to be able to start collecting it out of water, out of dirt, and so forth because it's there. And so we have collected scat a few times that was oddly peculiar, but first of all, we have to figure out where we can send it, and unfortunately this stuff gets contaminated all the time. So I'm hoping that we're at the early stages and give it 5 years. I think eDNA is going to be really revealing a lot of forensic evidence that what everyone's been talking about, it's going to finally be legitimized, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, where do you send poop? You know,
down the drain. That's where you said.
exactly. All right. Troy asks, Wayne, if I was 7 foot tall, could I pull off the Bigfoot walk? I think you could, buddy. The patty walk. I think you could. Did Doug get? Here, let me pull this up. Did Doug get a look at the face at all? The sighting you guys just had.
I did not see the face. I saw the arm moving, and I saw it just bolting, and it was like it was gliding. That's what's amazing. You hear these stories like it's almost floating. It moves so effortlessly, but so fast, and it was just. And when we went there, because there was snow on the ground when we had the sighting, which we probably should have gone out there and seen prints, but I'm kind of glad in a way we didn't, because Cliff was like, do you guys know how to track state, walk around this way and that? Because he was like so excited. So maybe it's better we didn't. But by then the snow had melted, and I tell you, a human trying to run through there, we would have tripped in 5 feet just by the bushes, the downed trees. But this thing just glided. But Carrie did get a good look at its face, because it was and Cliff actually found the spot where it was standing by the tree. He said, oh, here's the 2 feet where it was standing by the tree. And I think we caught it off guard, and Carrie got a bird's eye view of it. He saw the face. They looked at each other, and that's when it bolted. And he yelled, did you see that? And that's why I hesitated, because I was like looking around, and then I saw it, and it just, and then it got lost in the trees, because it moved like 50 feet and like just so quick, 50 to 100 feet. And I saw the fur on its arm. I saw its head with the fur, and you could see its body, and it was walking perfectly upright. But unfortunately, it never looked at me. It just got out of there really quick. So you might ask Carrie, because he got a
That's
view
what I
of
was
it.
going to say. Carrie, do you want to chime in, buddy? Did you see the face? And if so, give us some.
When I first saw it, it was standing next to the tree. It was upright. It was tall, hairy. That's what I remember the most. It was really hairy. It was brown, and it saw me. I saw it. It saw me, and it took off. I mean, it was just seconds. It was so fast. I questioned myself. Did I really see this, or did I not see this?
Now, Carrie, the face. Would you say that it looked more human or animal-like?
Animal-like, yeah. But like
Really?
I said, it was so fast. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to explain what the features look like. All I remember is the long brown hair and being upright.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
That always fascinates me. And you get the people that talk about they look more human than animal-like. I wonder if it's like split down the middle, because I hear both. It looked more like an animal, like an ape, and then it looked human.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, it happened so fast. I wouldn't even be able to describe features of the face, because it happened so fast. Yeah.
Troy's got a really good question, I think. What do your family members think about your experience? How are they taking all this?
My wife thinks it's great. I've only just discussed it with my wife and my son, and that's it. That's the only people I've told. And they all think it's great.
Your wife is Todd's sister, right?
Yeah. She better believe.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then my son was saying that he regrets not going with us.
Oh, I bet.
He's on the fence about the whole thing, so I'm trying to get him into it.
Okay, what about you other guys? What do your families think?
Well, my wife thinks I'm crazy. She thinks the whole Bigfoot thing is, I mean, she supports it, to a point. I mean, she'll go camping with us, but she doesn't go on hikes or any kind of any kind of research expedition, but she thinks it's not real. But she says she has to see it to believe it. But so hopefully one day she'll have a sighting too. But
All right,
she's
Troy,
still
what
there.
about
So
you? Not Troy, I'm sorry. Doug, what about you?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm single. So I don't have to really answer to anyone, though. My daughter did happen to call us during that time, and I told her about it. She goes, because she knew her brother had a sighting, and she's going, well, it doesn't surprise me because you're always looking for, doing stuff like that. Your curiosity, because I'm a complete outdoors guy. I love backpacking for days on end, and so I even love to get into the woods even more than camping, though. The older I get, I'm obviously kind of settling into some car camping with Todd and the friends. I built myself a little camper, so that part's fun, especially in the winter. But in the summer, I love just putting on my backpack and taking my tent and, not ultralight, but light, so I can go for days, and it's fun.
Awesome.
But going
Do
solo,
you
I'm a
do a
little
lot of
bit more
solos?
cautious. I used to. I'm getting a little less. If I'm on the Pacific Crest Trail, obviously, there's going to be times where you have to hike alone. It's just how it turns out there. But
Yeah.
but usually I'll go with friends when we do backpacking trips. But so I know my ex-wife, she used to always we had experiences, and she'd say, so I know if I brought it up to her, she'd think it was great, because we used to always hear people talking. She goes, like, that is weird, people talking, but you can't make out what it is. Cause
Wow.
I got introduced my whole family to backpacking, and they love it. And cause we used to go to the Trinity Alps 3-4 times every year, Marble Mountains 3-4 times every year. So it's just been part of our, legacy. Cause I was 16 years old when I first started backpacking in New Mexico as a kid. And it's just been, I just want to see mountains. I love mountains, and I just love seeing what's on the next ridge. So, maybe someday I'll remarry, and hopefully the person will want to do the same thing. But at this point, I've got it pretty easy. And it's funny because, you know, Todd and Carrie have a little bit more of a challenge than I have in this regard.
Yeah, I absolutely love that you brought up, or your ex-wife had experienced, and yourself hearing the talking, because as I mentioned, we were in the LBL this past weekend, and that's one thing that I reported that just freaked me the hell out. Both Friday and Saturday night, I heard talking. I couldn't make out what they were saying. I couldn't make out if it was even English. It was from a distance, but close enough that you could hear chatter. And Troy, bless his heart, he doesn't have the best hearing in the world. He'll admit that. He is deaf out of one ear, so he has a hard time hearing stuff. And he heard several things this weekend, but so he couldn't hear the talking, but I heard it clear. I mean, not clear because I couldn't make it out, but it was definitely talking, and it sounded like I could hear like thuds and stuff. Like a car door shutting is what you envision, but it's not the same as a car door, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like a metallic sound, but the talking was definitely there. It's creepy, man. All right, we got a question from Scott Trent. Thank you, Scott, for asking. He says, do you all think if you're in the woods, they know you are there?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they know we're there before we know that they're there.
Absolutely.
This is their living room. They know what's going on.
I agree.
They know we're there long before we hear anything at all.
And we think that's what the knocking was about.
Yeah. We think the knocking is them warning others that humans are there, or there's something out of the normal, out of the norm that's in their area.
Quite possible. Very possible.
Yeah, and we've heard tree knocks in different of our research areas over the years, and sometimes they're not real strong knocks, but there's been a couple times where we got super loud, threatening knocks that we quickly surmised that they don't want us here. You just felt the threat and it was scary, and we said, let's get out of here. That's only happened a couple times, but over the past since 2018, I believe, there's been like 3 or 4 instances where we got such loud knocks that we just knew they were basically telling us, don't go any further. I don't know why or what the reason, but it just vibrates through your body. And so yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the fact that you're having those car doors, because that's what we've heard too, and that's what people describe it. And I've heard everything from them cupping to their hands or what, and the fact that you were hearing chatter and you can't make it out, see, you're in a good hot spot. So keep going there.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's a 4-hour drive for me. So that was a bucket list location. I'll be going back because that place had an impact on me. But yeah, I agree with you. You got a question here from my great buddy, one of my best friends and vice president of my organization, Manimal Research. Did you catch a smell in the area when you had your sighting?
I didn't.
So nobody smelled anything?
I didn't smell anything.
There was snow on the ground, and it was at least 30 to 40 yards away where the sighting took place. So it smelt to me a musty, wet area where we were. However, Todd and I and Carrie, in some of our research areas, we found this pond in one of our research areas, and 3 times that day we got that extreme smell that Sasquatches have. I've smelt that about 4 or 5 times in the years that I've been doing it, but we had 3 of those scents that one day. It was like it's like a wet dog with skunk. It's just such a weird smell, and it's like an oily, pungent smell that isn't skunk. But is that how you would describe it, Todd?
Yeah, when we found those ponds, and we hiked in to this area on this trail, and the smell, there was no smell. We're hiking on this trail, and all of a sudden the smell hit us really hard. And I was surprised because this is the only time I really smelled it that strong. But it was really, and then we hiked through, you smell it, we smelled it a couple of times, kept hiking, and on the way back, we smelled it in the same spot again. So I don't know if there was something in the area, in that certain area, as we walked through and then back. But it was that was the only time I smelled it. But when we had the prints, we never smelled anything.
Yeah, and I think that kind of answers that other question too, that they know we're there. So I think something was going around that one day and was watching us and moving around, because there was one other time in another location, the Trinity Alps, where I distinctly got that smell, and it was right before dawn up in the Trinity Alps with some other friends, and my other friend heard it too. He heard the footsteps, but I smelt it right by my tent. It was that pungent smell. My son also, when he had his experience in 2009, he had that pungent smell right around him, and he actually saw the silhouette of it unzipping his backpack. And yeah, and that was on Finding Bigfoot, actually, in Birth of a Legend. He was on that show because of that. But the one I'm getting back to, where I smelt the smell at another time at a place called Tangle Blue Lake in the Trinity Alps, there were some other campers around the lake, and when they came by, they go, wow, someone was throwing rocks at us all night, and it was freaking us out. And I go, well, it could have been Sasquatch, and they didn't want to accept that. It was just kind of funny, you know. But it was that very morning that experience happened. I smelled that really pungent smell. So it's definitely out there. But on this particular sighting, we did not smell it. I think it's because of the direction of the air and other factors were involved. But I've once even smelt a kind of a sweet smell in another experience we had. So I don't know if that was because it was near a certain time. I don't know, but it's really
Yeah.
weird.
I kind of think that they can control the smell. Like it might be a defense mechanism or like a stress thing. And that might be why you don't always smell it, because of all the encounters I believe I have had, I've never smelled what everyone talks about with the smell. But I would like to, and I hope I will one day. But moving on, Troy, this question would be good for Carrie because you're the one that saw the face in the sighting. But Troy asked, did it look at all like the Todd Standing videos?
No.
You know, those Muppet looking faces.
Like I said, it just I was kind of like looking at the whole thing because it happened so fast. I wouldn't say I was concentrating at looking at the face. I caught the whole body.
Yeah.
The most thing that sticks out in my mind is it being tall and hairy, and the color of it was the light brown. But,
okay.
Yeah, I can't. It's just hard for me to describe the face because it happened so fast. But it definitely was a creature.
All right. Our last question comes from our newest member, Jessica Murray. I don't know. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, ma'am. I don't know if it's Murray or Murray.
I think it's Murray.
Murray. Okay. I'll take your word for it. But she asked, has any of you seen an albino Sasquatch, or I guess the white colored Sasquatch?
This is my first sighting, so, and it was brown.
Yeah, I never have, but we actually have a friend who used to live in Weaverville. I'm not going to disclose her name because she doesn't know I'm bringing this up, but east of Weaverville, she saw an albino Sasquatch.
Yeah, we've been talking lately. I don't know if it's necessarily albino or just like we have different colored people and different color hair. You know, as humans, what else happens as humans as we age? You know, you look right here, that looks kind of white, similar. There you go, Doug. You know, that happens as you age. I mean, who's to say this doesn't happen? Same thing doesn't happen with Bigfoot. Maybe we're seeing older Bigfoot. Maybe they didn't used to be white. They started out as black or brown.
Remember in the sighting that I had, I saw like a blonde, maybe like a gray spot on the front of it. That's one thing I did notice. It was different color.
I've heard that many times as well.
How about you, Doug? Do you see any different colors on it?
Myself, I saw it only from the side, just bolting through the trees. And like when we first described it, I was saying, he said, oh, it's really brown and it had some white on it. And I said, I was thinking it was more reddish brown. But then once we found he went on the images and he goes, this is what I saw. And I go, oh, well, that's what I saw too. So then we correlated what we had seen and I only saw it from the side. So I saw its arm moving. I didn't really look at its legs that closely because I was just impressed with the fact that it was upright and was just bolting, gliding so quick. It's so weird for your mind to see something like this and trying to process it in just that couple seconds and it was like moving way faster than I ever expected. Because you know how you see the P&G film, which, you know, the Patterson-Gimlin film, and it's obviously moving a lot quicker than we realize. But when you see something in real life like that, just to process it. But I did clearly see its arm and I clearly saw its head but I saw it from the side only because I think it was just trying to get out of our sight as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I was even a little apprehensive to even let anyone know, but we decided to let some experts know, and it was a relief to me that they are finding just dozens of prints in that area, because you don't want people to think, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I am now in the forum of, like, I'm with people that have seen this, and it just does something to your brain in the sense that you're like, it's almost like you're afraid to tell people. I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
why people, because you just don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get. But I know what I saw, and I would never back off on that, because it was, and if it's the only one I ever see in my life, but I want to get a really good video. I want to get close, as long as it doesn't kill me.
I don't want to keep you guys all night, but we did have one more question come in. That's the last one that I'll ask you guys, because I think it's a good question. From Alex S. He asked, do you believe the color of the Bigfoot can determine if it's mean? Say black equals mean, brown equals not mean. Do y'all have an opinion on that?
Well, I think it's the area that they're in, because up here in the Siskiyous, where we do our research, the Sasquatch have had a lot of experiences over the years with the Indian tribes, the Hoopa tribes. So I think it's the familiarity they have with humans. If they're more familiar with humans, then they're not as aggressive, because they've dealt with humans, for hundreds of years. Now, if you go up to British Columbia or some areas where they don't deal with humans a lot, then they may be more aggressive. I mean, that's just my observation, which kind of really doesn't mean a lot, but that's just what I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question, actually, and I actually think the color of their hair has nothing to do with whether they're aggressive or not. I think a lot has to do with, is it a male that's been evicted from a household, as it were? Is he older? Is it like a cougar? Because when cougars get older, they get more aggressive because they're trying to vie for food. Maybe the way settlers and others have treated them in the past might have a bearing on their aggressiveness. And then it's just like us, some humans are real mellow and some of us are ultra aggressive. So I think within their species, it's just a huge variation. So I don't think it has anything to do with the color of its hair, because I've ran into black bear that just run from you. And then there's other bear that are different. They just stop and look at you. And I've had a dark black bear do that, and a really blonde black bear do that, where it acted like it was going to make a stand. And I was like, okay, that's odd, because usually they just run from you. I've once seen a grizzly too, and fortunately I was far enough away and I didn't have to find out how aggressive it was. So I'm thankful for that. But even within all kinds of species of animals, there's just huge variation. I think it has nothing to do with the fur color.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you on that, Doug. All right, guys, take a couple minutes, either one of you, and talk a little bit about your group, Bigfoot Wilderness Research, where everybody can find you, and just anything else that you want to promote.
Well, we have a YouTube channel, Bigfoot Wilderness Research, also a Twitter or X, same Bigfoot Wilderness Research .com. So we put out all the videos that we record on our YouTube channel. So everything we do find, we will put it on there.
Okay. And like always, every interview we do on here, I take the audio from it and I upload it to podcast, which has a much larger audience than our YouTube channel. So yeah, just send me the link to anything that you guys want shared, and I'll be happy to include that in the show notes. Everybody will be just a click away from checking you out.
Appreciate
Guys,
it.
I think what you're doing out there is awesome. You got some awesome people behind you verifying what you're finding. I think that speaks volumes to what you're doing. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, all three of you, for taking the time to come and hang out with us tonight. One of the better shows that we've done in a long time, I think. Very informative. And you guys are killing it.
Thanks. We're doing what we can.
Thank you. And I think we're all in this together because we all know there's something out there, and we want people to not just kind of marginalize this. There's a North American ape, whatever it might end up proving to be. But I am leaning, especially after the sighting, thinking it's some sort of North American ape.
I'm with you there, Doug. I agree. Again, guys, we appreciate it. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, guys. Y'all be good. Bye.
Good.
Bye.
How good was that? Hour and 20 minutes, and it felt like 10.
Yeah. All the good ones are amazing.
Great pictures.
I just soaked it up.
Yeah, great pictures that we were able to share tonight. Todd sent me some videos as well. Wasn't able to get them on here. I have a hard time getting the videos on StreamYard for some reason. I need to figure out how to do that. But I did share one, the longer one, on Facebook today. If you guys haven't seen that, head over and check it out. How awesome was the chat tonight?
Oh, it was hopping. They were on it. And Miss Jessica joined our Mad Hatter of craziness. I'm so excited to have her.
Jessica, you are the real MVP tonight.
Yes.
Thank you very much, man.
Yes. Miss Murray came in here with a win.
You now can check out all of our previous members only. And whenever we do another one, I hope to see you there commenting. Maybe we'll get you on here with me and Tiffany and just hang out with us. But yeah, tell your family, tell your friends, and get some more people to sign up for that membership. We greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You got anything else, madam, before we get out here?
Nope. Just like normal, come back and see us on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I couldn't at the moment tell you who we're having.
Okay, I was about to ask you who we're having on. I do want to touch on the poll question tonight because it had good response. 20 people voted on it. The question again was, are tracks in the snow the best way to collect DNA? Overwhelming 80% said no, that is not the best way.
Amazing.
So what is it? What is the best way? Maybe we'll ask that. That's a topic for another time.
It is. And we will be having Rock and Randy Stewart on Tuesday.
I'm excited. I'm excited about that. He is an ex-professional wrestler.
Yes.
He lives in Las Vegas now. He is going to be talking about some Bigfoot sightings he was born and grew up in Tennessee and become a professional wrestler and moved to Vegas. So we're going to talk about some Bigfoot stuff.
It's going to be exciting.
Yay. Let's get up out of here. 3 shows in a row, 3 straight days with a show, or I'm wore out. What about you?
I'm tired. I have this headache. It's like this dull headache from staring at the screen.
Yeah, you did a 2-hour show the other night, and then over an hour last night, and then an hour and a half tonight. Mm-hmm. You're earning your money.
Lots of screens. I will add another 0 to the end of my paycheck.
Bristol says we want more. I can't give you more, guys. I'm sorry. Jessica Jones, were you hiding? Why didn't you say hello? How are you doing, ma'am? We need to get out in the woods. I was talking about you the other night on the show that I did over with Bobby Dizzle. I was a guest on his show, and we talked about you for a little bit. So glad you stopped by, ma'am. All right, let's get out of here.
Peace
Say
out,
your
guys.
goodbyes.
Thanks for coming. Love you.
Hey, why are you yawning?
Because it's 11:30. I've been up since early.
All right, guys, y'all be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Let's let Tiffany go to bed. Bye.
Bye.